Hello and welcome everybody. This is your host, Learvok, and you are just in time for more LEGO Bionicle MOC Showcase. Today we are looking at Gali ReBuilt. For a quick rebreather of our Toa ReBuilt project, I will refer you to Takanuva, the first video in the series, which attempts to explain the basic design of all of the 7 Toa that I have rebuilt in this project. Mainly, generally the construction of it all. Just to put it quickly though, I rebuilt all 6 of the original Toa and then Takanuva, the 7th Toa, using a mixture of CCBS and original Bionicle pieces. Just kind of as a experiment to what if we could make these kind of simple, easy to build models, kind of the way that LEGO would have done had they still been doing Bionicle. So yeah, in this case we have Gali ReBuilt, as I've already mentioned before. So yeah, this one's a bit on the complex side, a bit. Because you can already tell, you're probably having a lot of questions, like basically what's with this big old axe blade here and the wings. Especially those of you who didn't keep up with Bionicle past a certain point. The wings here are water wings that came from Holly Mari, the Toa Mari of water at the time. I am not sure if I'm saying Mari right. I've never heard it pronounced correctly. But yeah, Holly was the Toa of water at the time, and she had these cool looking water wing things, and I was just kind of I just liked them so much I tried to incorporate them into Gali. We also have these little bow rock fin pieces. And as for her general design, you'll notice that with her arms, she's got the light azure arms, giving her more bathing suit look. Considering that she is the Toa of water, it would make sense that she'd be dressed for the part. Even though they're all machines, they don't wear clothes. Yet they still have backpacks and stuff like that. I guess technically they need something. This is also reflected in the armor on the upper end, where we use the translucent, light translucent blue to the dark translucent blue. Kind of reflecting that kind of sleeveless look to our design. Then we have the legs, which have attempted to do kind of like a seafoam kind of look with the little white blended blue legs. That also, I believe, the legs and feet came from Holly's Anika build. So yeah, that kind of adds a little more serendipity to the excuse me. It adds a bit more serendipity to her, to the whole Toa of water connection. I'm assuming I'm using that word right. So yeah, if we go into the side here, you know she has her blades from her Nuva form. These are just held together using the 2 pin, this T-pin posts piece, and this little half pin stuck in. It's just kind of as a way to store her weapons. She can use them normally, as intended. In fact, originally, these were her only weapons, until I came up with the water axe here, which we'll get into that just shortly. But real quick, let's go ahead and look at the back end of her design. The water wings uses the Anika legs and a few other pieces to kind of keep it all in place. Has this little fin piece here, which I think came from one of the Glatorian sets, I think. I saw it on Bricklink and thought it looked cool enough to give her the piece, and I figured worst case scenario I couldn't find a use for it, it just goes unused. But fortunately, it fit on her, and it just kind of acts like as a bit of a place to store the wings when she folds them down. Now, let's get on to the coup de crayon of the whole thing. Now, maybe not necessarily the one that you had the most questions on. This water axe, as I'm calling it, the water blade axe or something like that. This was not originally her weapon. In fact, originally the blade piece here was green. It just happened to be what I had at the time when I was building a cool looking weapon, and I just kind of gave it to Gali, which is why there's not really a place on her to store it. There's not really a place on her back for storage I can only do. And I just kind of liked her holding it. I had her holding it like this. It was originally gonna be in the story. It was gonna be like this weird key thing she found, but they didn't know it was a key. They didn't know it was a key. That since it's a giant freaking weapon. Why would you think of a key? But yeah, she found it shortly after waking up in her new rebuilt form, not knowing where she or any of the other Toa were, or how they had gotten these new forms, and that would have been. This is I kind of have the beginning of the story. They go kind of search for answers, trying to figure out how they got rebuilt, why they look so different where everyone else is, and get into adventures that way. But then eventually I just kind of retconned it into being like, oh, this is always her weapon when she awoke. So she always has the water blade, the water axe. So yeah, it's just kind of part of her repertoire. Like I said, it originally had the green piece here, but I replaced it with the blue because I liked her having it as opposed to anyone else. And considering that she does use axes, it does make sense to have this be an axe. So yeah, the water axe, hence why it's mostly hollow, because it needs to be able to swing in the water pretty swiftly. As for general design on the legs, as we'll go back to these, instead of just going on the color coordination, we'll go into the actual design of legs. The feet here, I wanted to give her kind of like these kind of flipper sort of feet looking things. Like, she'd swim, she'd have kind of bigger feet to kick and move water around so she could swim. These were pretty much an obvious design almost right away. Like, I picked these out and was like, yeah, I'll use them. And of course the color came from just looking for them and just seeing like, oh yeah, these are the original feet pieces for Holly. The kind of the blue and white kind of almost seafoam look to it gave enough of a look for me to want to use it as seafoam sort of thing. Gave her a more watery look. So yeah. Let's see, what else do we have here? We have not much else. Oh, her chest piece. Same chest piece as in the original model, just the little connector piece. I've never been able to figure out why they did this for her, but considering that in the original Bionicle set, she is the only female Toa, and she's the only one that doesn't have a ball joint on her chest, but instead has this blue, connector piece. So I wonder, maybe it's to give her more of a feminine appearance, particularly when you look at the side, or, and this is probably what most likely is, it's supposed to be kind of like a breathing apparatus sort of thing, because her mask does give her the ability to breathe water, but having something to kind of symbolize that, regardless, still kind of there. Or maybe they just did it because they wanted, I don't know, they probably wanted it to be different, I don't know. Speaking of the mask, we'll go ahead and take a look at the head. As with all the other Toa, the heads are color coordinated to fit the proper Toa. I believe these are her actual eye color. The yellow is her actual eye colors. At least that's what it looks like on Monog. Matanui online game, for those of you who haven't watched the other... Actually, no, I don't think I mentioned that in the other videos. I think that was... Anyway, Matanui online game, for those of you not in the know of the lingo. And then just kind of looking at her translucent blue mask. Fun fact, this was not the most expensive mask to purchase on Bricklink. That was actually Kopaka's mask, which we looked at in a previous episode. Which cost about $1 something. Oh, actually, correction. Of the original 6 Toa, not the most expensive. Because the most expensive mask, actually, let me just grab it here real quick, is Makuta's mask, which I got in the mail today. Came at about $17. Which is actually fairly cheap considering most of the time it's usually about $25. So yeah. Then followed by Takanuva's gold mask of light coming in about normally $25, but I was able to get it for $12. And then his crystal mask of light, which is about $6 on average. And then you have Kopaka's mask, which is about $1.60, I think I paid for it. And then everyone else's was either like $1.10 or lower. I don't think I paid more than $1 for anybody else's mask. But yeah. So yeah, that is Gali. Gee, Gali, it's Gali. I wish I had a lot more water puns to make. I just don't have any more water. It's just, I don't know. It's very fishy. I don't have any water puns. Yes, that is really the best I could come up with. I am sorry. I am so sorry. I cannot believe I made that bad of a pun. You know what? There. Oh yeah, she's angry at me. She's disappointed in me. She's not angry. She's just disappointed. Okay. If I was in the stop motion, that's where I would have actually had Gali do that stop motion, but I do not have the patience for that. Anyway, so yeah. So with all that said, this has been Gali Nuva. And I will see you guys later.